talk about Jarrell Big Baby Miller, who to me looks like a big dummy. I mean, it defies all logic and rationale other than you'd have to be scared and or self-sabotaging to do what he did. He failed a drug test. He failed 3 drug tests. He basically tested positive for every single performance enhancer that I've ever even heard of. He tested positive for EPO, human growth hormones, steroids. He's in a drug testing protocol. He knows they're coming every week to test him. What? I'm at a loss. This guy, I think he was going to get $5 million. His trainer's going to get $500,000. Everyone around him is going to get paid.
He's not going to be going into MTI soon.
If you're
MIT,
scared, just
MIT. How dumb am I? I go to MTI. I'm not going into MTI either. Or MIT. Either one. Okay.
If you're scared, don't take the fight. Why would you do this? Not to mention, I was talking to a friend of the show, Andrew Cancio, about this the other day in California, and he was saying that a lot of times with these championship fights, if you do something like this to sabotage the fight, fail a drug test, do something crazy, and the fight gets canceled, you're on the hook for all the promotional expenses.
But shouldn't you be?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, if people knew out there that if they're going to kill someone or rape somebody, right?
Yep.
Just horrible, horrible, horrible crimes against all of us in society. They don't belong out there. If you're going to do that, and you're definitely going to be caught, you're definitely going to be prosecuted, and you're definitely going to get to chair, do you think it would limit some of those crimes? Do you? Yes or no?
Yeah.
I think it would, right?
Yeah.
So if people knew that they were going to be caught in this business, that people were going to find them, they were going to test, and they were going to make sure they caught them, and that they were going to be properly punished and held accountable and not be able to fight anymore, lose their license, whatever the punishment should be, it would stop them from doing it. This is rampant in my business. Right? This is just the tip of the iceberg.
I think it's much bigger than most people would even imagine.
It is. Hey, listen, without getting into names, just look at some of the heavyweights over the recent years. You think some of them have been using stuff just because they didn't get caught, and not just heavyweights. We already know, even going back, that guys like Vargas and that there was all kinds of guys. Canelo got caught. There was all kinds of, unless you believe that the meat, you know what I mean. I got one word for that. Kobe. Kobe beef. All right, brother? Okay, you're making that kind of money? Buy Kobe beef. It won't be tainted. Okay? So all I'm saying is that I think it's rampant. I think it's out there. I think these are just, like you said, you just described it pretty well, how dumb you could be. But
he has to be scared.
But how scared?
Just don't take the fight.
No. But how? Because he still wants the money. But how scared? We talked about this on another episode, that for me, it's about facing what you got to face, but you got to face it alone.
Yeah.
And we're all scared. Join the human race, brother. We're all scared. It was put there for a reason, that we all need to have it to get us ready for situations, to live, to survive, to exist. But it's up to us, our character, our development as human beings, to be able to make choices and to be aware of it and to control it and to make the right decisions. And, you got a fighter. He's got to get in the ring. That's a tough place, tough way to make a living. And he's scared and he's looking for help. And I'm saying the good ones, the great ones, the special ones, they feel the same way. I'll say it again. They feel the same way. What they do is different. They're going to do it on their own. They're scared. And so they work harder. Whatever they got to do, but they're going to find a way. But they're going to find a way on their own. They're not going to go to steroids. They're not going to go to intimidation of trying to scare someone to death like Tyson used to do, and hoping that half of that person would only show up in the ring so their job would be easier, so they wouldn't have to face it themselves. No, the good ones, the special ones, in anything in a courtroom, as a doctor, as a teacher, they got to face a room full of kids that they're scared too. Well, you think they're not scared? There's a lot of phases of being scared. There's a physical scare. There's an emotional scare. It's all heavy. It's all something. It all affects you. It's all felt. But those people are able to say, no, I'm going to face what I got to face. I'm going to prepare. I'm going to be scared, but I'm going to believe in myself, and I'm going to find a way to get it done. And then you get the people that say, no, I feel the same way as the other people, feel the same way, no more, no less, but I'm not going to do it myself. I'm going to look for help to do it. I'm going to cheat to do it.
Yeah.
And those people, at the end of the day, as big as they might get, they're weak. As strong as they might get, they're weak.
You could tell at the press conference that he was scared. He was talking crazy.
But I think the people around him should be punished.
Oh, absolutely. He's not going out to a pharmacy and buying that.
What, the trainers don't know?
That's what I mean.
The management don't know?
You're not going to walk into a pharmacy and order up performance enhancers.
And we should. See, baseball, what did they do? But no one cares about boxing enough. See, that's what pisses me off. And you want to go where you got to go with it and start thinking, what does that mean, Teddy? They don't care about those people in boxing. Who are those people? So you're saying they don't care about them as much as they care about the people in baseball? I'm going to say it again. Yeah, they don't. They don't. Because the president of the United States was ready to get involved when there was a strike in baseball, when there was problems in baseball. Everybody was ready to get involved. Everybody was ready to chip in. Everybody was ready to help that sport. How come they're not ready to help over here? How come they don't care about the people in this sport? In baseball, it had to be removed. It was wrong to have people on steroids. But at the end of the day, what did it mean? That they were going to beat the crap out of a ball a little bit more? Instead of hitting it 300 feet, they were going to hit it 500 feet? It's wrong, but it's a ball that's getting hit. In my sport, now it means you're going to punch somebody in the head harder. You're going to move their brain from one side of the skull to the other side of the skull faster. That's what it means. Nobody cares about that? I don't know. Where are those people? Where are the Congress people? Really? All those damn people that came out so outraged, so righteous. They're coming out, well, we can't have this in baseball. Can't have it. Oh, we got to fix it. Yeah. Come out in boxing and do that. And hold everyone accountable. Get real rules. Get real testing done. Get people who say, well, where's the money for the testing? Fair, legitimate question.
The promoter, whoever puts on the event should be responsible. They hire the ref, make sure the athletes are clean.
Listen, we have mega events in this sport, in my business, in boxing, our business in boxing. We have major events a few times a year. Take a point from those major events and put it into a pool to use for such things. Are you kidding me? Take 2 points. Take a point or two, take a percentage point or two from those huge mega events with these fat belly promoters. Well, some of them are in good shape. They're vegetarians. They run. They do roll. But they're still fat. They're still fat in other ways. Okay, hey, take some money from those big events and put it into a pool to use for such things. And then if you want to go further down the road, we won't today. But then you also figure out something where there will be a system put together for fighters where a retirement fund, what's the word?
Pension.
A pension. Put together. All the other sports have a pension. You can't take again. I know it's tough. I know you got to figure out the formula. Well, how many fights do they have to be eligible for the pension? How many pro fights?
It's not that tough. Just have a formula. At 50 fights, you're maxed out. At 25, you're halfway there. Yeah.
You figure it out. And I know how much money you made and how much it generated. I get it. But it could be figured out. It was figured out in all the other businesses. It was figured out in all the other sports. How come it's not figured out in this sport? And again, where's the money come from, Ted? You make these promote, put their feet to the fire.
Raise the ticket price $1.
No, don't even do that. It's high enough. Take 2 points from all the mega events that go on in this country. These huge, the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight, that generated, close to $1 billion?
Yeah.
I say it again,
Crazy.
Not $1 million, close to $1 billion. That one fighter made close to $300 million. One fighter made $120 million.
Yep.
Okay, take 2 points, 1 point of that money, put into a pool all these other mega fights that are going on, and use it for a pension. Use it to make sure that there's no steroid use. Where a fighter who's already in a dangerous place, who's already in the ring where he could get hurt, is not getting sledgehammered in the head by somebody that's got anabolic steroids in their freaking veins. Okay.
Yep.
So just like you guys out there, the congressmen, all you freaking phony politicians, and not all of you are phony. Some of them are really good people, but too many of you are full of crap. Do something. Really care about our people. Care about these people. Care about this sport. You care about a baseball getting beaten up? Care about a freaking human skull getting beaten up. And do so. And again, when you come out with the testing, when you come out with making sure that the things are in place to get rid of this problem, and which I think is probably an epidemic more than people think in this sport, when you do it, hold everyone accountable. Hold the trainers, hold the managers, hold everyone. Get rid of their licenses. Stop them from making a living in the business.
That's what I was going to tell you is like they should tell Jarrell Miller, you're getting a lifetime suspension or 2 years, but where did you get the drugs? You don't want to tell us? Then you go talk to your people. Tell them someone's coming forward to say where you got them. You didn't go to a pharmacy and order them up.
If that was the case, if you made rules like that, you just said, and I said it earlier, then you'd get rid of it.
Yeah.
You get rid of it.
You tell me who gave you those or you're out forever. Because we know he already admitted that he took them. There's no, I mean, Canelo still maintains his meat thing, but come on, man. These guys, if you get caught, you get caught.
And you look at Miller's body, he didn't look exactly like Arnold, right? I mean, before steroids, I would have tried giving up Twinkies.
Not to mention those.
Just try it for like 2 weeks.
Dude, not to mention those drugs are incredibly dangerous. People just think that you get all these performance enhancements.
There's a price to pay.
Yeah, like if you're that heavy and taking a drug like EPO, which is known to thicken your blood, raise your red blood cell count, it can turn your cyclists back in the 80s when they were first experimenting with this drug died.
Armstrong,
yeah, but there were cyclists that died from taking too much because if you take enough of it, it will turn your blood thick like viscous, almost like an oil. And you get a guy like Miller who doesn't look like he eats the cleanest diet, and now he's adding testosterone or whatever steroid he was on, EPO, human growth hormone. That's just, I don't know. That one has me confounded. If someone tells you they're coming to your house to test you for anything, you think you would be prepared, not just like, oh, those tests are full of crap. They're not really going to test me. And to your point, we touched on the UFC in the past and about how, at least in the UFC, the fights get made. They have a dictator, but in some cases that can be good. They have their own performance-enhancing testing system with Jeff Nowitzki, former head of USADA. Or
good for them.
And they recently caught a guy that you and I met at the NASCAR event out in California, TJ Dillashaw, who I think was the lightweight champ at the time. They had been testing for different performance enhancers, but they weren't testing for EPO, the red blood cell drug that would increase red blood cell count and therefore increase endurance. And they hadn't been testing for that because it's an expensive test. And apparently it was well known that he took this, and he had been at other fight camps with guys who knew, and they basically said, test this guy for EPO. They came and hit him with a out of competition test or whenever it was, and they caught him for EPO, stripped him, and gave him a 2-year suspension. But if you catch someone and you have them dead to rights and they acknowledge that they're cheating, I don't understand why it's not a lifetime ban in a combat sport where, like you said, you're going to get in there and try and assault somebody and do it with an unfair advantage. That should be game over for you.
I agree. But to enact these rules, these laws, this punishment, which is all right, you have to have an organization, a system in place to do it. You have to have, a national body, a commission, a czar. The NBA has a national commission. Of course, the NFL does, MLB does, NHL does, tennis does. But boxing doesn't. You have these local state commissions. Some of them are useless.
Yeah.
It's a joke. They're connected with the promoters. They're, they're dependent on the promoters in many cases to keep their commission active, to put fights on.
Yeah.
So they're friends with them. There's relationships there. There's a closeness that should not be allowed to exist.
Yeah.
So it's never going to happen in boxing, I guess is what I'm going to say, unfortunately. Or it's going to be hard for it to happen because you don't have somebody in charge. You don't have that national czar, that national commission that's saying there's rules for everybody.
at a minimum, the State Athletic Commission should demand either VADA or USADA testing. And VADA is the voluntary anti-doping agency run by Margaret Goodman, and Skip Hermansky is on that board. And those guys basically for hire drug testing program. And USADA is funded by the U.S. government, or it's a U.S. government entity, I believe. And VADA only covers combat sports. So they'll come in. So if you're promoting an event, you would hire VADA to come in and do voluntary testing, but during the once the fight's announced. But I think there are some fighters that can voluntarily get into the VADA pool. So they're tested all the time and they get like a biological passport to see if there's any discrepancies in their blood cell count, etc. But, there's not enough uniformity across all these different anti-doping agents. Yeah,
exactly right.
And I don't know who is best suited. I mean, obviously the promoter is trying to maximize profits on the fight, right? So it's kind of like...
No, forget all that. You need an entity, which we don't have. You need a czar. You need a national head, a national body to incorporate these rules, to come in and say, I'm going to take charge of the Wild West here. Because boxing, even though we're in the year, that we're in 2000, in the century that we're in, the time we're in, it's still the Wild West, unfortunately, in a lot of ways. It really is.
Yeah.
That there was no sheriff in town.
And like I said, I don't think you even get tested until you're in these big events. I could be wrong, so if I am, I apologize. But like, I don't think these smaller cards and prospects, 10-0, 5-3, whatever, I don't even think they're being tested. I could be wrong, but I don't think.
No, you're not wrong. And so it's okay. It's okay as you're being built up for 20 fights, right? Because most people have about 20 at least until they get to a world title or until they get to that significant place. So it's okay to have those steroids flowing through your blood veins for 20 fights where you're going out there and you're annihilating guys with illegal substance in your vein for 20 fights and doing damage and just wreaking havoc all over the place, leaving bodies, falling all over the place to get to 20-0. And then once you get there, be careful now we'll test you.
Yeah.
What about all that?
Yeah.
What about that? What about that path to destruction?
And one other thing to point out about that fight that's interesting with the doping angle is they offered the fight allegedly to Luis Ortiz, and he claims he's turning it down because of money. He's 40 years old. He's already lost one title shot. He's going to get a title shot, and he claims it's for money. But with accepting that fight, he also goes into the VADA testing pool. So do you think that he turned down the money, or he didn't want to get tested positive again?
How much did he get offered?
It's $3 to $5 million?
No, $5 million, I believe.
Yeah.
And then I believe it went up to $7 million.
Yeah.
I believe a second offer came in $7 million. So ask me that question again.
If the number was 0 and he had a chance to fight for the title, guess what the next fight would be worth? A lot more than 0. So why would Ortiz turn that fight down?
Let me think. Give me a minute.
A guy who's tested positive, I think, twice before. Once cost him a world title.
He's not taking $5 million. He's 40 years old. As far as we know, he doesn't have any Swiss bank accounts, right?
Yep.
Right. He's dirty.
Again.
Do we need VADA to tell us that? I don't think so.
What a shame. I mean, come on, dude. He didn't even have a fight on the calendar, and he's dirty. I'm going to assume that he's dirty, and that's why he didn't take it. Because, like I said, even if the fight was for $1, you'd be like, a shot at the heavyweight title at this age? Give it to me. I'm one punch away. He almost had it. He had Wilder hurt, and I thought he was going to win. And he passed. So now we got Andy Ruiz.